So I never actually intended to transform my body simply to impress women, yet it was the thing that almost destroyed me. What's going on? My name is Don Riel Lunkin, and I decided to tell Instagram my story, and I felt it is just right for me to tell YouTube my story too. And I know it's been a while since I made a video, but I decided to actually come up with a different approach to my business and how I want to actually give value. So what I do now is online fitness coaching, where I actually help men become the best version of themselves physically while being able to stay grounded to Christ, unlike I was back in the past. And that's exactly what this story is going to be about. Now, if you don't actually follow me on Instagram already, my name is Don Riel Lunkin, and just give it a follow. Actually, I already have my story pinned, but in this video, I'm going to be going over it, and I'm going to be giving more depth of it, so there's not like, these gaps, right? So without further ado, we're just going to get right into it. So this is the part that I never spoke about. In 2021, I was insecure, lost, and undisciplined. I was in a toxic relationship, and I remember we had gotten together in 2019. We was not in Christ at all. We actually got together. We bonded by talking about somebody. We was talking about her ex, and and she had just got out of a relationship. I'm over here thinking like, oh heck yeah, this is my time. I can, get with this person, and I had no structure at all, right? I had a plan. My plan was to work. I had worked at Walmart. I was working at Walmart, and this was before 2021. I was working at Walmart, and I'm over here telling myself like, oh, I'm gonna be here for 5 years, and then I'm gonna quit, and then I won't have to work anymore, right? Because I was actually a videographer, a photographer, and an editor, and I would shoot for power lifters and people who basically worked out, anyone. Like I was doing music videos, everything, right? Weddings, whatever, right? And it wasn't really consistent. It was not ideal, right? And I had like no real confidence. The reason why I didn't have any confidence is because at the time, the people that I was surrounded by, they were way stronger than me. They were older than me, so they had more of their life put together. And most people also they was in college, right? I was really young. I think I was like 22 at that time. I'm over here like, people are in college and like they kind of have their life figured out, and they have these new cars. Like they're either in the military with a wife already, and I'm like, bro, like everybody else look like they already have it together, and I don't. And it was kind of like a lot of pressure for me, right? Next slide. I was insecure in every aspect of life, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. Spiritually, I wouldn't really say I was insecure spiritually, but I definitely was lacking Christ. Like I said, I was not in a relationship with Christ at all. And financially, like I said, I was working at Walmart getting paid like $500 every 2 weeks. Emotionally, I was very insecure emotionally. I did not have any emotional self-control. Physically, in my head, I thought I was in shape like I wanted to be, but obviously you can see in the picture I was not. Mentally, I was insecure mentally. I had anxiety, and it was super bad. Like I hated being in my own mind because I knew bad thoughts would come, and my anxiety was like through the roof. Next slide is I was constantly disrespected and emasculated, and this, I hated the feeling. Right? This is a picture of when me and my ex and her friends, and we went to Carowinds. We went to a trip, right? And the girl in the middle is my ex, and the guy beside her is actually her older brother's friend. And the point of that was she was trying to get him to talk to the girl all the way to the right. And I'm like, he does not like her. She doesn't like her. She's not interested in her. And if it were like the whole time during the trip, she would not stay away from him. And it made it look like we weren't even together, right? And I remember this day very vividly. I actually took I took a video of it. Like I would do things. I'll just take videos of things when I noticed it and peeped it, just so whenever if I did get into an argument, there was no way you could lie about it. But I was like, she hasn't stepped away from her guy friend the whole Carowinds trip, right? And I was like, yo, I think I'm losing her. I remember taking this picture, right? 2021, right? And then I remember feeling so many emotions this day, right? I felt heartbroken. I felt embarrassed. It was very embarrassing for me. Um, like I would text her and be like, "Yo, just like get away from him. You, it looks like this. Like it looks like you're with him. Like it doesn't even look like you're with me, right?" And I felt not worth claiming, right? I felt like I was like, "Oh well, if she had to choose between who guy to look like she's with, it wouldn't be me, right?" Because this guy he was like I think 25, right? I was like 22 at the time, and I'm just like, bro, like this dude's in the military. He gets paid good. Like I think he was just on like a break for a moment, but obviously this dude, I don't know what he did. I think he was like underground. I don't know, something in the military that paid a lot of money. Like later that day, I remember later that day I brought up what she said and how it made me feel, and she dismissed it like completely. I remember, okay, when I was doing this story for Instagram, I think this part and the next slide, I was very emotional, like, because I had to put myself back in that position, and it was very hard for me to be there, right? Like, emotionally. It kind of started an argument because she was like, "Oh, you're so, like, you're always whining about something, blah, blah, blah." And I'm just like, oh man, I think she was like, "We can never do anything fun." And I was like, dang, bro, that kind of, like, that destroyed me, right? Obviously, that destroyed me. I was so hurt by it that I actually vividly did not, like, I remember I didn't eat for 2 days because I was so, like, in my head, it was like, she cheated on me. Like, she cheated on me, right? I would never do that to her. She did it to me, and she didn't care about it. Like, she didn't care how I felt about it. So in my head and in my heart, in my mind, it was like she cheated on me. And I remember, this is something I'm only going to put in this video, but I actually remember, like, before that trip was orchestrated, I actually wasn't supposed to go. And what I mean by that is I wasn't supposed to go was that it was because I showed up, it was a odd number, right? It was like, I think like 5 people, I think 5 or 7. It was an odd number. And I remember being like, no, I want to go. But the only reason I wanted to go is because I knew that, the guy best friend didn't want the other girl. So I knew if he wasn't going to talk to her, then like they were going to talk, and I didn't want them talking, so I just wanted to be there. And because I did get there, I was there, and like I was treated that way, and I was like just kind of like pushed off the whole trip. I was like, it would have been worse if I wasn't there, right? I was just saying, like, I was so hurt by it. I couldn't eat for 2 days, and it was a type of pain and disrespect that I would never forget, and I would never allow that pain to ever happen to me again, right? Still, I was too insecure to actually break up with her, right? Like mentally, right? Mentally, I forever checked out of that relationship. Like it was like cheating, right? I wasn't in a relationship. Like, she wasn't my first girlfriend. She was actually my second. And my first girlfriend, she actually cheated on me. But in this one, it was like that's probably a story I'm never gonna tell. But I could, like, what happened that trip, you couldn't convince me she didn't cheat on me. I started distancing myself, right? I became way less communicative. And then something happened. I remember this. Something happened. I finally found the solution. So I thought. I stumbled across the red pill community. And if you know what that is, it is very prevalent online, right? It's basically the Fresh and Fit podcast. It was Andrew Tate and then Kevin Samuels. I was desperate, and my father, he passed away when I was 10 years old. So he never really taught me how to be a man, right? And then I didn't really have men around me, like actual men that I wanted to look up to that was around me that taught me how to be a man, right? So because of that, I started consuming every piece of content, and I started applying everything that they said to do, right? Because they would basically tell you how you should be to get the most respect. And because I hated the disrespect I got in that relationship, I was like, I want respect. I want respect. I want other women to look at me and be like, oh, that's Poppy, right? Or something like that, right? I wanted to be desired. Basically, right, the things they would say to do was like, work 50 hours a week, save all your money. Don't show your emotions. You're a man. No one gives a crap. No one cares. And start being in the gym 6 days a week. Build discipline. And I did it. I did those things and I started doing them, and then things started to change, right? My emotions, they were non-existent because I built the habit. It said to work 50 hours, that's when I kind of got my job at the factory, right? And because it was a new place, I was like, this is the part where I can show people the person I want to become. And I was like I said, I was very less communicative. I worked there for almost 2 years. And I remember I probably said less than 100 words working there because I was so silent. I was just observant. I was trying to be like this nonchalant, no emotions type of guy. I remember my work ethics was at an all-time high, right? I was very disciplined. I remember I never really complained about the job. I was working, and then I'm just telling myself, every time I wake up, I'll just be like, do what you gotta do, right? Do what you gotta do. And then what made me stay in the gym consistently was that when I was in that relationship, every single time I got disrespected. I'm sorry if I keep looking this way. I have a window open and there's people outside doing construction. But every single time that I would get disrespected, it drove me crazy, but mentally, right? Because I couldn't express it anymore, or I thought I couldn't express it anymore. So every single time I would get disrespected, I would always tell myself in my head, if I was Drake, you wouldn't do that to me. Or if I was Jason Momoa, that was her celebrity crush, Jason Momoa. And I was like, if I was Jason Momoa, you wouldn't do that to me. You wouldn't treat me like that, right? And it was like, or Michael B. Jordan, it doesn't matter. All these people that they simply just have a higher status. If I was them, you wouldn't treat me like that. And it would always drive me to the gym. Every single time I'd be like, Every single time I even thought about it, I go to the gym. And I'm just like, I need to become the person that girls will treat like a celebrity, right? And I noticed that the work was finally paying off, right? I started looking in the mirror and I started seeing the changes, right? And she started, the disrespect slowly started to die off because she started seeing the results too. She started getting kind of insecure about herself and my physique, and she started to want to go to the gym, but that didn't really last long, right? Because I started seeing the work pay off, it boosted my confidence, I'm not gonna lie. And my ego, it was at maximum, it was dangerously high. And though I was still in a relationship, right, during that time, the pain that I felt that day, it was like yesterday. It felt like yesterday, but this time I had the advantage, because I had the advantage to not care, because I had other attention coming to me, right? So when the attention from other girls finally came, I entertained it. And this is the part that I never really told anyone. And I do feel, it's tricky because there are things that I've done that I regretted, right? And there are things that I'm like, yes, I regret it, but if I didn't do it, I still wouldn't become the person that I am now, right? And I wouldn't learn from it, right? So, like I said, when the attention from the other girls finally came in, I remember I went to take photos for my brother because he graduated, and I stayed there for I think a couple days, and it was all the way in Wilmington, and it was at a beach. I was there for 2 days, and I was out and about, and then girls, they'll be like, oh, blah, 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 and I'm entertaining it, right? At my job, right? There was a girl, and just long story short, I did cheat. I'm not gonna lie. And like I said, I did things that I never thought I would do, which was that, because I was very loyal, and now obviously I am, but at that time, like I said, because that pain that I went through that day was always in my mind and always circulating, whenever I would get attention, I'm like, yes, finally, right? When women are younger, they get attention and we have to work for it. And now that I worked for it and I'm getting the attention, I'm gonna indulge. So even though, right, I did start feeling more desired, yes, by my ex at that time, but it was good to know that I was getting more desired by other women, and I started getting more respect. I started being seen as a real man. This is not how I wanted it to be, because I remember, and I'm gonna be very honest and blunt about this. The girl that I did cheat on her with, she would see me in a way that I didn't even want to be. Like I was very nonchalant, but I'm expressive, and I like being expressive. I like being this happy, goofy person. But I knew that if I was that way, she wouldn't want me. And it was like that also with my ex. And I'm just like, so it made me like not care about the girl, my ex, anything. I didn't care. I was just tired of it. Like, I didn't want to be that. And realizing that this is not who I wanted to be, and I know that nothing good down the road would come from it, I decided to get a fresh new start, right? I decided to end things, right? Like at the beginning of 2023, I decided to just end things, and I knew that God had more for me. And the thing with that was I was going to a new gym, and this is actually the same gym I met my wife at, but I decided to go to a new gym, and I would get off work and then I would sleep in the car because I was just tired. And after I slept, I would go work out. And then someone that I used to work with, he put this on my windshield. And it was Jeremiah 29:11, right? NIV. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. And I remember when he put this on my windshield, he just left. I got 1 minute left. But he just left. And then I read it and I started crying, bro. And I was crying. I'm not gonna lie. I was bawling my eyes out because I was like, man, like I'm tired of being in this relationship. And even though, and like I felt trapped, because even though I was, feeling more desired and stuff, I didn't want to be that person. But I was too kind of still insecure scared to end things. And whenever I saw this and whenever I got this note and I started crying, I was just like, it was kind of like like I know what I have to do. I know what I have to do. I have to end things. And this was like, I was obviously at the time I wasn't, cheating. I wasn't messing around anymore. It was just more like, no. It was like maybe 10 months after that. And then I'm just thinking to myself like, man, I really need to end things, because it's like I want to do this by myself. And I didn't have plans of getting this close with Christ, but I did know, I was like, I kind of want to get close to him now. And when I got this note and all that happened, I remember when I made the decision, I was like, I need to break up with her. And I'm going to show you how crazy God actually is, because this is what I need y'all to realize. I was making videos, I was making content, and I was growing. But I didn't realize until a couple of years later that this is what he actually wrote. This is what he wrote. He said, keep going, man, greatness awaits. He didn't give me this. He didn't give me this. He gave me this. He just wrote it on there, and it was just a note. And like, I'm not even joking when I say this. I didn't see this. I didn't read this until like last year, like 2024, actually. I read this, and then my eyes was stuck on literally God's word. Like, it was stuck on that. And then this is what changed my life. So after I ended things, I started to take my faith way more seriously, right? And my wife, right, who I met at the gym. And this is the part where it's kind of tricky, because I locked my keys in my car, and then I was going to the gym, and then I had to wait in the lobby. And my wife, currently, she worked at that gym, and she actually is the one who signed me up. I just started a conversation. She told me that her dad was a pastor, and I was like, whoa, hold up. I was like, I'm thinking like, yo, God, is this you? Is this you? Because it's like, I had this urge to get closer to God. I promise you, I did not know how at all whatsoever, right? And because of that, I'm thinking to myself, like, God, this gotta be you. This gotta be you, right? So then she tells me, she's like, yeah, this and the third. And then she invites me to church, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go. And like, I'm not gonna get you wrong. like she was pretty, right? Obviously, she was pretty, and I'm just like, but like I was more intrigued by the fact that like I needed God, and she said that her dad was a pastor, and I was like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go because I need this, bro. And I go and I gave my life to Christ that Sunday. I don't really remember exactly when, but what day, but I know it was after the 17th, because that January 17th is when I broke up with my ex. I started surrounding myself with other followers of Christ, other men, right? I think like after a few months, I think around March, I quit my factory job because it was just like, it was toxic. It was toxic. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that place was toxic. Like me working there, it was still like an ideology of like, oh, be a man, like don't show your feel, like stuff like that, right? I was trying to adopt the mindset, the Christ-like mindset, and still work at that place. Yes, I was making videos, and because I gave my life to Christ and I'm like starting to see the changes and feel the changes and experience Christ, I started, trying to make videos centered around Christ. Now that I do this, where I am an online fitness coach, a faith-based online fitness coach, I refuse to watch men put themselves in the same position that I went through, not getting the respect they need or they want. They're neglecting their own emotions. They're being fueled off of pure hatred, because that's exactly where I was. Just because they think that's what it means to be a man, right? And I know that there's this war happening where it's like what it means to be a man, and then you got the biblical masculinity, and then you got the worldly definition of masculinity. And basically, Christ is like what it means to be a man. Christ is not weak, obviously died for us, but he was gentle. He said what he needed to say, but he also heard, and that's things that I'm still working on, but I'd rather work on this than what it means to be a worldly man. Now that I believe that it's my mission to help men go from being out of shape, insecure, believing that you're meant for more, feeling like a failure, no discipline or no structure, to having more energy, feeling amazing, living in your calling, because if you are in shape, it is so much easier and you feel better about actually living in your calling. Becoming a leader, whether you're a husband, whether you serve in church, whether you work at a job, it'll feel better. You can become a leader, right? And having way more discipline than you ever have in your entire life, without losing yourself in the process, because I lost myself in the process because I was following this red pill thing. And now that I found myself and I found Christ, that I don't want other men to fall for that, right? I don't want you to fall for that. Stop waiting for the perfect moment to make it happen. If you're trying to, get the body that you actually want, you want to lose 15 pounds, you want to gain 15 pounds of muscle, you want to do a whole body recomposition, you want to feel good leading your family, you want to be a great husband, make it happen. There's no amount of motivation that's going to get you there. So if you're actually serious about making change in your life and becoming the God-led man that you can be, message me the word Exodus. Comment the word Exodus. I will reach out to you. Follow me on Instagram, Don Riel Lunkin. That is my story. Like, this is the story that I had. And of course, I got different stories. I have different stories for different topics of my life, like the woman I married. Like, during this process, I met my wife, right? I had to have a relationship with Christ in order for it to work. And because of that, I was able to have the fruits. She fell in love with the fruits, and I wanted to keep having those fruits so I can, keep giving them out, not just to her, but to other people, spread the seeds. I believe that every man that's just got out of a relationship, or they're struggling in their marriage, because they don't have no structure, they are receiving constant disrespect. I believe I can help you, and I believe, because that's my mission, that's the impact that I want to make on this planet. If you resonated with this video, please subscribe, like the video, follow me on Instagram, DM me. I want to talk to you. I want to actually talk to you. I'm not trying to sell you nothing. Like I'm not trying to just sell you something. I genuinely want to help you. I want to be the one to be able to be led by Christ, have this conviction in my heart, and say, I can help you. I want to change your life, and I want you to want to change your life. That's about it for the video. If you like it, just comment, let me know your thoughts, let me know how you resonate with it. And yeah, my name is Don Riel Lunkin, and this is Don Reality.